Good evening and thank you for joining us. Kimberly is away tonight. A bone-chilling polar vortex has settled over Ontario and right across Canada. The Arctic system bringing dangerously cold temperatures. CTV's Camille Wilson reports.
Oh, goodness. One word sums up how this group is tackling the extreme cold while skating on the Rideau Canal.
Preparedness.
We packed everything from snow pants, long underwear.
Wendy Scott says she has so many layers she can't even sit down to put on her skates.
I got outdoor skates which are insulated, so they're warmer than normal skates, and not figure skates that are not insulated, so my feet actually don't get cold when I'm skating.
And those layers are needed as minus 20 degrees weather settles over Ottawa this weekend. Despite the cold, the sun is out and these friends are looking on the bright side.
What do you do in the wintertime? Stay indoors or get out and enjoy the events that we have here in our great country? Well, the Rideau Canal is a historic thing.
It's great to enjoy the Canadian outdoors at this time of year.
But while some are embracing the freezing conditions, living through a polar vortex brings about serious health risk, especially for those experiencing homelessness. Shelters like the Ottawa Mission and Shepherds of Good Hope doing what they can to help.
We are over capacity as usual. We have 250 beds at the shelter. We're opening our drop-in program overnight as an emergency warming shelter.
Extreme weather can be fatal. Last January, 2 people were found dead outside during cold snaps.
If we're seeing people outside, we can call 311 to try and get them shelter placement. If we're worried about people, it's important to be calling 911 if there's a medical emergency.
With temperatures like this, within 10 minutes of having exposed skin, frostbite can take place. Those on the canal say because it's sheltered, it reduces the wind.
You don't feel the wind as much down in here. It's great, warmer.
It's only cold if you're out here without clothes on. It's warm if you dress appropriately. It's Canadian weather. It's not that cold. It's only, minus 22 without the wind chill?
Camille Wilson, CTV News.
During this dangerous cold snap, it's important to prevent frostbite. To do so, wear larger size mittens over gloves. Get to a warm area before frostbite sets in. Wear a hat and neck warmer. Wear waterproof boots and 2 pairs of socks. And avoid alcohol. And here's a few signs that frostbite may have set in. Skin may look red, white, bluish white, brown, or ashen. The area will become painful, and there could be white, waxy feeling and patches and numbness. Now, time for a first check on the weather. We heard that Arctic cold system will be hanging around here in Ottawa, and it is right across the province. Here's a live look through our Centennial glass sky cam. It's minus 24 degrees out there, and that's without the wind chill. Now, taking a look at our overnight conditions, clear overnight with that period of snow starting tomorrow afternoon and lasting into the evening. It will affect your Monday morning commute. We could see up to 20 centimeters of snow, and it could be lasting throughout Monday as well. So make sure you are prepared before you hit the road if you're going into the office. For the next 24 hours in Ottawa tomorrow morning, minus 25 by 7 a.m. Ontario's police watchdog, the Special Investigations Unit, is investigating a fatal single vehicle crash that happened last night. The SIU says 1 man is dead, but his identity has yet to be released. In a statement to CTV News, an SIU spokesperson says Ottawa police officers may have been in and around the area at the time of the man's death, which is why the SIU was called in. A stretch of Bank Street between Boyd Road and Morningside Avenue was closed for much of today, and Ottawa police say the man was in his 20s and are asking anyone with dashcam video to contact them. More than 100 people were forced outside today as Ottawa fire crews responded to 2 separate incidents involving dangerous levels of carbon monoxide. The first happened at the Hyatt Place Hotel on Moody Drive. The building's manager called 911 shortly after 8 o'clock this morning, reporting an unknown odor inside and some experiencing watery eyes and alarm sounding in some guest rooms. About 100 people were forced out of the hotel, and OC Transpo buses were brought in to keep them warm. The second incident happened at a retirement home on Island Lodge Road just before 9 o'clock this morning. And turning now to a significant cleanup effort at the TD Bank on Riverside Drive Friday after a vehicle crashed into the building. Ottawa paramedics say a 70-year-old man was taken to hospital as a precaution after the car collided with the building at around 4 o'clock Friday afternoon. Paramedics also say some people were inside the bank at the time of the crash, but none required medical assistance. The vehicle struck a storage area inside the bank. The Ottawa Fire Service's structural collapse team was dispatched to provide temporary support for the building. And a stretch of Rideau Street closed to traffic last night after paramedics say a pedestrian was hit by a vehicle. This was the scene at around 9 o'clock Friday evening. Ottawa police taping off Rideau Street between King Edward Avenue and Friel Street. According to paramedics, one person was transported to the trauma center with serious injuries. Well, an organization that supports women in crisis is marking a pivotal milestone this year. Harmony House provides transitional housing for women fleeing abuse in the nation's capital. Officials say they are filled with mixed emotions as they mark 40 years. CTV's Kimberly Johnson reports.
We would all come in and just the kids would run around, they would climb.
This is a place of importance for Chris, one of support in a time of crisis for her and her daughter.
The moment I walked through these doors, everything changed for the better.
Chris is a former resident of Harmony House, which provides stable transitional housing for women fleeing abuse. CTV News Ottawa has agreed not to show Chris's face and use only her first name. She moved into one of these apartments after living in an emergency shelter for 3 months with her daughter, saying this was a place of community for them for a year and a half.
I had my own space. I had, people who were like, here's your new. Everything starts anew now, and we're here to help you with it.
The organization is marking 40 years of serving Ottawa.
We want to show them what a life without violence or abuse can look like.
The executive director says on top of housing, families are offered counseling, childcare, and career support, as well as everything inside the homes from pots to towels.
It's so important for the second stage housing to be a stable place for them to heal and recover before they move on to their next stage of living.
In all, they've helped about 3,000 families, but today the need is growing. The waitlist includes up to 80 families, and as the charity looks to the future, it's fundraising to buy more apartments and hire more staff to help women and children quickly.
We need to meet the need to make sure the children have a more stable environment.
It's not just a unit. It's your home. It was my home.
Today, Chris says because of Harmony House, she has a degree in event management and has moved out with her daughter. She's speaking out so others know they too can have a future.
It took me a long time to get to this point, to sit in this chair, and it wasn't clean, it was messy. And that's okay for it to be messy. I just need you to get to this chair with me.
Kimberly Johnson, CTV News.
The 7th annual Free Day of Dentistry at Affinity Dental in Orleans went ahead today.
By far, easily our favorite day of the year. We get to give back to the community that supports us and keeps us afloat and able to serve the community. So it's our little way of giving back.
People were welcomed in on a first-come, first-served basis to receive essential dental care at no cost. Services included dental cleanings, fillings, or tooth extractions. Affinity Dental says nearly $25,000 worth of service was provided free of charge.
First Anderson, across, here's the chance, scores!
Coming up, the Suns back on home ice to face off with the Carolina Hurricanes. How the game went right after the break. Here's a live look through our Centennial Glass Sky Cam. It's minus 24 degrees out there right now. Well, 30 years after coaching his first game behind the Ottawa Senators bench, Jacques Martin is being honored by the team he helped build. Ahead of their game tonight, the Sens added Martin to the Ring of Honor, recognizing a legacy that still shapes a franchise. CTV's Josh Morano reports.
30 years since becoming head coach of the Ottawa Senators, Jacques Martin is being inducted into the team's Ring of Honor.
I never thought of receiving an honor like that. I'm really emotional about it.
Martin joined the Sens in 1996, tasked with guiding a young expansion team. From there, he would go on to become the winningest head coach in franchise history, reaching the playoffs in each of his 8 full seasons.
If it wouldn't have been for the tremendous talent that was presented to me, we wouldn't achieve what we were able to achieve.
The Rockland, Ontario native is joining the late Brian Murray, defenseman Wade Redden, and longtime team doctor Don Chow in the ring. His recognition going beyond the rink.
I, Mark Sutcliffe, Mayor of the City of Ottawa, do hereby proclaim January 24th, 2026 as Jacques Martin Day in Ottawa. He's from the Ottawa area. He went to school here. He coached here. He's a member of our community. He's a proud Franco-Ontarian. So to have the opportunity to honor Jacques today, I think is really special.
Martin now serves in a senior advisor role, and the team says his legacy still resonates.
He was a big part of the culture that I've had here for a very long time. So I'm really happy for him, really happy for the city as well, and it's a well-deserved honor.
Everyone in the hockey world knows him and knows what a great hockey man he is. It's been great for me to be able to work with him. He's a great person as well, not just a great coach.
Martin has spent 35 years coaching at the NHL level, including as an associate coach for 2 Canadian Olympic teams, but he says the team he enjoyed coaching the most is Ottawa.
It was a tremendous honor to coach those young men and to be part of an organization that really understood the team concept. That it's not about one person. It's about the team.
Josh Morano, CTV News.
And the Sens were back on home ice tonight, facing off with the Carolina Hurricanes.
Bruce Anderson across. Here's a chance. Scores. Tim Stützle gets.
And it was a tough game for Ottawa, with Tim Stützle getting the only goal for the Sens. The final score, 4-1 for the Hurricanes. The Sens are back on the ice tomorrow to face the Vegas Golden Knights. Puck drop is 5 p.m. Well, time now to look at our weather again. We know that polar vortex is here. It is lasting into the next few days. Here's a look at our satellite and radar. Pretty clear overnight. Tonight's low in Ottawa, -29. That's without the wind chill. Feeling even colder with that wind chill. -27 in Cornwall, -28 in Brockville. Looking over to Quebec, we can see -22 in Montreal, and Gatineau -29 as well. Now, tomorrow's high, it isn't getting much warmer here in the nation's capital. -18 as a high, -16 in Cornwall, and -18 in Pembroke. And in Quebec, -16 as a high, in Montreal, -18 and Gatineau. Now, here's a look at the next 7 days in the nation's capital. You can see that polar vortex lasting a few more days here. By Monday, we will be going into the work week with a lot of snow as well. Tomorrow night is starting and lasting into Monday. A Scottish tradition to honor a historic figure. Music, dance, and dinner at the high-spirited Burns Ceilidh. That's coming up. Highland dance and bagpipes and drums tonight at the Robert Burns Supper in Ceilidh, the Night of Heritage hosted by the Scottish Society of Ottawa. The sold-out dinner featured the pipes and drums of the Cameron Highlanders of Ottawa and Highland dancers from the Real Ottawa Dance Company. Robert Burns is famous as Scotland's historic national poet. And young dancers of all ages took the leap to audition for Canada's National Ballet School today at Canterbury High School. The auditions took place in Ottawa as part of an 11-city search for new talent. The prestigious professional ballet academic program in Toronto brings dancers to the next level and even gives some a chance at securing a spot in productions like The Nutcracker at the Four Seasons Centre of Performing Arts. And wedding bells were in the air at the Capitol Wedding Show. The event kicked off at 11 a.m. at the Ottawa Conference and Event Centre and ran until 4 p.m. It featured a fashion show, goodie bags, decor displays, a gown sale, and a bar for bubbly. The show is back on Sunday from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Well, a heartbreaking loss for the Ottawa Charge this afternoon as the team faced Montreal Victoire. That goal in the second period, but it wasn't enough for the team.
Now Gilday in the zone absorbs the hit as well. A good feed for Gava. Finds the back of the net.
Well, that was the goal. That wasn't enough, but the Charge losing this afternoon's game 1-3. Ottawa came in strong on a winning streak with a 4-3 overtime win against the Sirens in Newark on Tuesday. The team is back on the ice next Wednesday, January 28th against the Seattle Torrent. Puck drop is 7 p.m. And the Ottawa 67s hosting the Oshawa Generals at TD Place this afternoon.
Tried to knock it down. Ekberg has it stolen by Posthumous. At the Ottawa line, here's Posthumous, scores!
The Barber Poles starting off strong, getting 2 goals in the first period and 2 in the second. And Ottawa will go on to win this one. 4-3 was the final score. The 67s are back on the ice tomorrow to take on the Saginaw Spirit at 3 p.m.
If you have had 1 or more past concussions, drive safely.
Coming up, how a history of concussions could have a major impact on the outcome of a car crash injury. We're learning more every year about the long-term impacts of concussions as researchers pinpoint how brain injuries can have ripple effects throughout someone's life. CTV's health reporter Pauline Chan has more.
Researcher Donald Redelmeyer says for every person that dies in a motor vehicle accident, 6 others are left with permanent injuries. And while some of the more common factors considered in long-term disabilities include the severity of injuries, length of hospital stay, and concurrent mental illnesses, another factor came up.
The big surprising finding was that a past history of concussions was associated with a 15% further increase in the risk of long-term disability. And these might have been concussions that occurred years and years before the actual motor vehicle crash.
Redelmeyer says the message goes beyond trying to avoid getting into a car crash.
If you have had 1 or more past concussions, drive safely, especially late at night, which we found were associated with the highest risks of long-term disability, suggesting that once you've had a concussion, you may not be exactly the same, even though you feel the same, you just don't have that same reserve capacity to recover from the next bad thing that comes along.
Another study looking at the long-term impact of concussion is out of the University Health Network.
Even just that repetitive head impact where people don't even realize that they're having a concussion could be setting you up for delayed neurodegeneration decades later.
The finding is especially significant for parents and childhood sports instructors. Dr. Carmela Tartaglia cites sports like boxing, hockey, football, rugby, and soccer, especially for girls, who she says are especially vulnerable to concussions. The message from Tartaglia's study?
Even 1 concussion can put you at risk of dementia. And so, of course, this idea that you have to protect your brain throughout all of your life.
She hopes attitudes, especially in sports, which are most likely to be a child's first exposure to concussions, will continue to evolve. For example, setting age limits to begin heading the ball in soccer. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
We are so excited. This is the 70th prediction for Wiarton Willie.
Still ahead, will it be an early or late spring? The lead up to Groundhog Day in a southwestern Ontario tradition.
Hairstyles, courtesy of Salon Fiorella.
Time now for our wake-up weather for tomorrow morning. -28 without the wind chill and clear conditions. Now here's a look at our 7-day forecast. You can see by Monday, it will warm up a little bit, -13, and we're going to have some periods of snow lasting into the work week. By Tuesday, -20 overnight, so a good week to go out on the canal if you do like to skate. Well, finally for us tonight, if you're fed up with winter, we may get a glimmer of hope in a little over a week. Wiarton Willie, Ontario's famous groundhog, will soon hit the stage to make his prediction for when winter will finally come to an end.
We are so excited. This is the 70th prediction for Wiarton Willie.
Every February 2nd, anticipation builds for the famous groundhog to predict when the start of spring will come. Now, time will tell on whether he will cast a shadow for 6 more weeks of winter or if there will be no shadow, a sign of an early spring. Well, that's CTV News for this Saturday, January 24th. CTV News continues online anytime with our digital team, keeping you up to date at ctvnewsottawa.ca. From all of us tonight, thanks for watching.